Welcome to the Afterlight Podcast with me, Lauren Grace, a spiritual podcast full of stories and conversations that prove we're never alone. The Afterlight Podcast aims to inspire and educate. Remember, you are the authority on your own life. I encourage you to run everything through your own filter, to take what resonates, and I also urge you to do your own research and consult with qualified professionals for advice on your personal situation. The opinions shared by guests are their own, and any advice by our guests or by me is not a substitute for professional guidance. Thank you so much for listening, and I enjoy journeying back with you to the afterlight. Enjoy the episode. Lauren Grace here, and welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining me. And today I want to talk about letting go to let grow. And I also want to talk about doing an inventory on what you've been doing and what you want to bring into 2026, in terms of focus, in terms of goal setting, in terms of giving yourself an opportunity to really become the person that you desire and want to be. So first of all, with the idea of letting go to let grow, I was listening to a podcast called the Be Expanded podcast, and it's such a great podcast. I have to say, I highly, highly recommend it. And the women who run that podcast are also in charge of a program called To Be Magnetic, which I don't know really much about. I've not joined it before, so I'm not, saying anything about it, except that a lot of the stuff that I listen to on their show is really good, really powerful. I'd love to know if you've ever been in their program. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because I first heard of Let Go to Let Grow on that podcast, where one of the speakers was referencing that they had heard it from somebody else. And so I'm a big fan of giving respect and the nods to the people who have said things, especially a statement like that, which is letting go to let grow. And I Googled it and I was like, who actually said this for the first time, maybe? And there is this woman on TED Talks called Gwen Coffey, Let Go to Let Grow. I don't know if she's one that started it. I have not listened to that TED Talk. I just did a really quick Google search before I hit record, to be honest. But I just want to say, did not come up with that idea myself, but it's catchy and I really love the idea. Letting go to let grow. So when I think of letting go to let grow, I think of letting go of old stories. I think of letting go of people, places, things that no longer lift us up and are no longer in alignment with who we are. I think of letting go of old habits, of old ways of constantly showing up in the world. I'm a major creature of habit. I enjoy doing the same things, okay? I eat the same foods. I love reading and rereading the same books and reading or rewatching the same movies. I'm a major creature of habit, right? So I have to make a conscientious effort to step outside of my comfort zone. Even when I go out for dinner now and again, I still gravitate towards ordering similar stuff. And part of me is thinking, well, I know I like that and I want to eat that, but at the same time, what if I tried something new? So the other day I was at the markets and I had Vietnamese noodles, vegetarian Vietnamese noodles the night before, or the market before that anyway. And I thought, I'm going to order the same thing again, damn it, because it was so good. I loved it, right? And then I thought to myself, or maybe I should let go to let grow, and I should I know some people are like, remove should from your vocabulary. I mean, whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, well, what if I tried something new, right? So I did. I thought I will not get the Vietnamese noodles, even though that's really what I want. I will actually try something different because I might be pleasantly surprised. So instead, I had the complete opposite. Drum roll, please. It's not that exciting. I had a gourmet Eggplant schnitzel burger. So I had a gourmet eggplant schnitzel burger. So I don't really know what makes it a schnitzel. Is it because it's pressed? And anyway, it was sort of battered and then it was like in a hamburger style. And I thought it was good. It wasn't great. I would have much preferred the Vietnamese noodles. But I still enjoyed it. And so, yes, I didn't. I enjoy it. I was going to say I didn't die. I mean, that's not what this is about. I think it's just really about, well, okay, so I tried something new. So maybe the next time I try something new, maybe it'll be really great and exciting. And all of a sudden, I'll find my new Vietnamese noodle alternative, and that'll open up a whole new thing. So, it's really funny too when we think about the world, when we think about, almost like that butterfly effect, right? Where I go, okay, so imagine me and I'm standing and I could go left to the Vietnamese noodle line, or I could go right to the eggplant schnitzel line. And then what do? I go, ooh, and left has a whole other slew of possibilities. Maybe I talk to somebody in the line. Maybe they tell me something interesting and I research it later. And all of a sudden I'm, realizing that my desire in life is to be a NASA space person. And even though I'm in my 40s, I think I can do this, right? Or maybe I go on the right and I have that conversation. Or maybe I go on the right and these people, didn't have a lot of people in line in front of me. Maybe they get the validation that putting the eggplant schnitzel on the menu was a good idea and they were waiting for that sign and me ordering it gave it the validation. I don't know. I'm just ad-libbing here and having a little bit of fun. But, it's just kind of an exciting thing to think about sometimes. I think about fate. I've talked about it on the show before, but I love playing blackjack at the casino. And I often think about, if I bet a certain way, it changes the entire outcome of everyone after me. And the people beside me, when they bet a certain way, they change the outcome for me. And it's such a cool idea to think about that all the time. And it really just goes to show that we never know what is happening at all. And I really do fundamentally believe that what is meant for us will never pass us by, that, we will find ourselves where we're meant to be. And sometimes we can take the path of least resistance, which is following joy and going with the flow and being guided by our higher self and our angels and our spirit guides and being led there. And sometimes if we're not paying attention to the clues, it might take us a little bit of a longer time to get there. But, fate, fate. I wasn't even going to go in the direction of fate. I was actually just going to kind of sum that up. And then I said the word fate, and that made me think about free will. And are certain things fated? Are they not? Do we have free will? Really? I believe we do. But is our free will being kind of guided by our higher self? Which, I don't know. Maybe I don't want to talk too much more about that right now because I think I'll end up just rambling on about nothing. So maybe I'll save that conversation for another episode. But letting go to let grow. So is there something in your life you can let go of? And then maybe you can open the door for something new. For example, sometimes people talk about how, if you go and you get rid of all the clothes that no longer make you feel good or don't fit you properly, what you do is you create space to invite in new clothes, for example. If you say, you're going to get rid of all that expired food in your cupboard and just, do some, I don't know, cleaning and purging and getting rid of the things that no longer support you and lift you up, then you create space for the things that do. I remember many, many years ago, I was talking to someone and they're like, I really want to be in a relationship. And I said, yeah, but look at all of the things in your life that are saying the complete opposite of that. And it was just their living environment was not set up to bring someone home. It was not clean. It was not really somewhere where they were feeling proud about bringing someone home and showing them off. They had really bad habits that were not going to be in, supporting a relationship. There were a lot of things that were going on in that situation that were just essentially saying, I want a relationship, but I don't really want to do the work, or I don't really want to put in an effort to create space to allow that to come in, right? Yes. So that leads me to the next part of this conversation, which is, your future self. And I I also want to emphasize that we are already the person that we want to become, right? We're the person that we've been waiting for this whole time. But when we are making decisions that are not supporting us, and I talk about this a lot on the show because I just believe in the power so much of the news influencing us, of the food we're eating influencing us, the people that we're spending time and hanging out with, the decisions that we're making, the lack of sleep or the sleep, the exercise that we're doing or not doing. All of these things add up to who we are. And we don't always realize that they are having maybe an effect on us that isn't supporting the future self. And so I just, I feel that as we get closer to the end of the year, I mean, we can restart and reset our life like right now. You could just get off, this, or stop listening to this episode and just go, okay, girl, I'm in right now. Let's do this, right? You don't have to wait for anything. But a lot of people like to wait for a Monday or the first of the month or a new year. Those are natural ways and things, times to start stuff, right? So if you are thinking to yourself, I want to make some changes, I want to make some adjustments, pay attention to how much time you're spending on your phone. How much time are you spending on social media? How much time are you reading the news? I can sometimes get sucked into reading celebrity news. Like what? I can think of 1,000 things that would be better use of my time than just scrolling through celebrity news or looking at different fashion things and going, oh, what's the new style of that? Or who's going there and who's dating who? And like who honestly cares? But I sometimes do that because it's mindless. It's a bit of fun. It's kind of like pop culture, like I'm having some bubble gum and a bit of candy at night. And I'm like, ooh, I'm just going to see what's going on in the world of bubble gum and candy. But honestly, I do my best to limit that behavior. I've got alarms set on my phone that remind me all the time 50 minutes on Facebook's up. Instagram 50 minutes is up. Safari 50 minutes is up. Google 50 minutes is up, because when you change browsers, you think to yourself, oh, I've got all the time in the world to read this stuff. And I'm not going to say it. Like sometimes I ignore the indicate. It'll be, you've reached your limit, Lauren. And I'll just go, ooh, let's just snooze that for 15 more minutes. I'm on a real roll here. But at least I'm doing it conscientiously. And I find that when we start to pay attention to how I talked to someone a while ago, and they had spent, I want to say it was 9 hours a day on Instagram. And I just thought, wow, that is mind-blowing to me. 9 hours a day on Instagram. I don't spend a lot of time on Instagram or Facebook. I put content on there for you, and I always do my best to make sure it's content that's inspiring and uplifting and letting you know when the episodes are coming out and things like that. I don't find it makes me feel very good when I spend a lot of time on there. It's like energy sucking. By the way, you can join my newsletter if you ever want to. I'm redoing my website at the moment, so I don't want to throw to my website. But if you want to be added to my newsletter, I'm looking at bringing that back in 2026, making a bit more of an effort to give you more content. At the moment, I normally just send newsletters letting you know of the different episodes that are out when they go live. But you can send me an email over at lauren@laurengraceinspirations.com. And just tell me you want me to add you to that if that's a way that you want to communicate or hear from me and the show. Anyway, I think I'm probably going to wrap up now. I think I've said my piece. I feel as though I've just been kind of ranting. I guess I just want to say that, you have a choice in everything that you're doing all of the time with your precious, beautiful life here. And sometimes we don't feel that we have choices, or we don't have energy, or we don't want to do, the things that are going to support us or lift us up. But we really do need to let go of certain things and behaviors and patterns that aren't supporting us so we can make room for the things that do. And one of the things I'm looking out for at the moment is a journal, because I'm going to get back into journaling so that I can just kind of talk to God, talk to my higher self in that way. I love the clarity I get from writing things down. And if you don't really know where to start, that could maybe be something where you start, where you just journal and you just write down dreams and things like that to yourself, right? I saw somebody, I can't remember what they were calling it the other day on Pinterest, but it's a scrapbooking idea. And you can take an old book or you can take a journal and you just scrapbook and you do scrapbook journaling. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make my scrapbook into a cool journal and buy some glue and glue things into it and just have a bit of fun, a bit of creativity. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for being here. The show's for you. Hey, the show is for you. Anything you want to hear in the new year, anything you want clarity on, any guests you want back on the show, I got some goodies that have been on the show before, so I'm happy to reach out to them again if you think to yourself, you know what, I would love for you to bring back X person. And let's do it. Thanks again for listening and talk to you soon. Bye. Hi. Thanks so much for listening to the episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave us a review where you listen to your podcast and share it with your friends. Thank you. New episodes every Thursday.